I'm truly fortunate to be counted as one of Frank's friends. I'm pretty lucky. Every night I get on my knees and pray. I pray that I can get off my knees. Yeah, Frank's been a real pal. He helped me when I started singing in cafes, and he helped me...
Cafes.
Oh, they changed it to cafes?
Cafes.
All right. Helped me with my recordings and motion picture career. And Frank, thanks for your support. Thanks for your support. I swear I'll wear it till the day I die. This man's success. You feel that earthquake? This man's success should serve as an inspiration to every American boy. Frank Sinatra was born in Hoboken, New Jersey, as an unwanted child, and now he's wanted in 5 states, especially the state of New York. As you know, New York City has been having its financial troubles. Nobody knew Frank had lent money to New York until they found the Statue of Liberty with her arms broken. Frank had a very lonely childhood. When Frank was 8, his father took him aside and he left him there. In high school, Frank never participated in extracurricular activities like nature study, paintings, or ceramics. Frank's hobby was a most interesting one. He was an amateur gynecologist.
Wait a minute.
Frank was pretty good with his hands. When he was out of high school, he decided to become a boxer. He fought 26 fights. Half of them were with the cops, and the other half with the photographers.
That's true.
Tommy Dorsey and his orchestra was playing a nightclub, and Frank auditioned for him. Tommy was really impressed the way Frank attacked those high notes. And for an encore, Frank attacked the cocktail waitress. Nobody sings sexier than Frank. I once played one of his albums.
Album.
And he got my record player pregnant. He's the only guy I know who wears a medic alert bracelet on his wrist, which reads, "I'm a sex symbol. In case of an emergency, give me a girl." He went up in a home for runaway girls, and he ran away with him. Before introducing our first guest, well, I just want to say that there's no doubt that when Frank retires, they'll hang his zipper in the Hall of Fame. George Burns is truly one of the great comedians. He's going to be 81 years old. So and for the last 3 months, he's been saving up his breath to blow out the candles. They're going to put him on his birthday cake, and he's going to come up and blow him out. And here he is, old sugar throat himself, Mr. George Burns.
You know, Dean, my sister Goldie is one of your biggest fans. When I told her this, I phoned her this afternoon. I told her I was dressing right next door to you. And there was a little hole in the dressing room between our... And she told me to look through the hole and tell her exactly what you look like. And Goldie got all excited. She says, please look through the hole, and I did. And she's now a Frank Sinatra fan. right business. So is Tony Bennett and Perry Como and Andy Williams. All us great singers. We got it made. You see, when you're a singer, you don't have to worry about getting laughs. See, nobody's laughing. I'm not worried. The minute Frank walks out on the stage, the girls scream. And there we have something in common. I get the same thing from the nurses when I go in for a checkup. This morning, after taking a shower, I took a look at myself in the mirror, and I found out it takes very little to make a nurse scream. By the way, Dean, did you ever make the girls scream?
Well, you ought to know. You peeked through the hole.
I don't know whether you've noticed that, but as singers, Frank and I are very much alike. It's not that we phrase the same way, and it's not that we sing in the same key, and we certainly don't have the same range. But there's one thing we have in common. We both open our mouths when we sing. Come to think of it, we have another thing in common. We both make records. He sells his, I buy his. And the records he makes are so sexy. My secretary, Trixie Hicks, she buys every one of them. And they're so sexy, every time she plays a record, she's got to throw a bucket of cold water on herself. You ever try to dictate a letter with a wet secretary sitting on your lap? It's exciting. No wonder that women still idolize Frank Sinatra. Now that he's older, he's really a good-looking guy. It takes a long time to get to be good-looking. As I said when I first got up here, a singer doesn't have to get laughs. And when you're an 81-year-old singer, you don't have to have a finish.
Mr. George Burns, ladies and gentlemen. My next guest is the distinguished former governor of the state of California. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Ronald Reagan.
Well, thank you, Dean. I'm pleased to be here tonight, honoring my very dear friend, Frank Sinatra. I must say that when this program was being planned, the producer hadn't decided what political figures would participate. It was a choice between me and Governor Brown, and I lost again. Seriously, this is Frank Sinatra's night, and I'm here out of gratitude. Frank worked for me in all my campaigns. He was with me all the way to the governor's mansion. Without his help, who knows? I might have been president. It's my considered opinion that the two gentlemen who flanked me would make quite a political ticket. Frank as president, Dean as his crawling mate. Why would Frank Sinatra make a good president? Well, let's look at the facts. He has many friends, and I'm sure he'd appoint only the most qualified to his cabinet. Who better than Sammy Davis, Jr., as Secretary of Health, Education, and Jewelry? Of course, in politics, there's always gossip and ugly rumors. I'm happy to expose one for the falsehood that it is. He has not granted a Pizza Hut franchise at Camp David. It'll be in the White House, where it belongs. Frank Sinatra will make a president who is strong on defense, but again will have concern for humanity. Scientists at his urging have developed an intercontinental ballistics missile that is not a weapon of mass destruction. It only hits photographers. I asked him what he thought of the energy bill. He didn't hesitate a second. He said, pay it. Frank is innovative. His mind is always working. But he's also willing to admit when he's wrong. Like wanting a comic like Pat Henry to open for him when he addresses the joint session of Congress. And he realized, speak to Congress, the real comics are in the audience. He won't have any trouble with Congress. They'll pass all the legislation he sends over just to get his autograph. And he'll settle that canal business, too. Panama wants a canal, he'll give them Venice. Well, you probably gathered by now, I think Frank Sinatra would make a fine president. But I don't know whether we can get him to run. Is it worth it if you have to give up being a king?
Get the lowdown on Frank Sinatra and find out what he's really like. Well, nobody is closer to Frank than our next guest. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Frank's personal chef, Mr. Dominic Pendoroni.
Nice to see you.
That's nice to see you, too.
You're talking funny. Thank you so much for telling people that I am the best cook in the world, because it's true. Ladies and gentlemen, a prune. Please, breathe on the prune. Stewed prune. The first time I meet Mr. Sinatra, he came into my restaurant. He had linguine, mazzacholi, and cannoli. 3 of the biggest broads you ever saw in your life. They're very particular, especially Frank, you know, with his salad. He says, I want fresh tomatoes. I want fresh tomatoes. So I gave him a beautiful waitress with a filthy mouth. I just want you to know that I have written a pizza cookbook. It's 400 pages. The first 300 pages are napkins. And in my book, I got a lot of famous quotations, and one of the best quotations is from Julia Child, who once said to a turkey that she was stuffing, "You're embarrassed. How do you think I feel?" He's a great athlete. Very few people know that. He is one of the greatest swimmers in the whole world. This is true. And you know that Frank should be very grateful to the press, because it was the press who taught him the Australian crawl. You know, I go back a long way with Frank, a long way. A long time I go back with him. This far back. In fact, if it wasn't for me, he wouldn't be the king he is today. Remember when the girls were swooning and fainting? I'm responsible for that. Yes, at the Paramount. They used to scream and faint. I used to give him, before he went on, a meatball sandwich with a lot of garlic. And he would sing, night and day, you are the one. He was singing. He was in the recording studio. He was singing, Strangers in the Night. He was just coming to the end. And I took a spoonful of hot pasta basil with a little red pepper. And he opened his mouth. I stuck it in his mouth. He went, oh, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. It's connected to me. You know when he sings in that part, I chewed it up, and spit it out. He's eating my food.
Frank's picture on this album, you can see, is probably the most popular Frank's ever taken. Everybody remembers Frank alone at night, standing under a lamppost and holding a raincoat. I didn't even see this yet. Could I take a look at this?
That's a lamppost.
Yeah, that's a lamppost. Standing here near this lamp, but if I was seeing this, I could have told you the whole thing. And the photographer was all set when Frank said, you know something? The lamp post, the suit, and the hat, that's nice. But something is missing. I don't know what, but it needs another touch. Something, I don't know. He said, it's foggy, misty, and at that moment, some fellow was walking by in a raincoat, and Frank pointed at the guy and said, that's it, raincoat. Well, this guy with the raincoat was a nice fella, and loaned it to Frank for this picture. He's in the audience tonight as Frank's invited guest. And we'd like him to stand up and take a bow from the L.A. Police Force Homicide Division, Lieutenant Colombo.
That you remembered me after all these years. I'm flabbergasted. I mean, I'm just flabbergasted. I thought that the album came out good. You know, I liked the picture. And, the raincoat never looked better. I know you got other speakers, so I'm not going to take a lot of time. I wouldn't do that, No, I wouldn't do that. I want to tell you it was a beautiful introductory speech. Thank you for the introduction. One quick question, if you don't mind. Those shoes, they're not rented. No, I figured. I feel a little self-conscious being here because I'm not dressed. But, I knew it was a big affair. But I didn't know that I was going to be brought up here. If I had known, well, I don't know what I would have done because this is all I got. But, when I got the invitation, I was at home. It was about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You know that they come in the form of a telegram. They don't come in the regular mail. No, they send you a wire. And I counted the words, 63 words. You can imagine what that cost. I don't know if you know that. Oh, here it is. I got it right here with me. See, this is the way you get invited here to this. Now, this is not a night letter. This is a regular telegram. But this is not the original. This is a Xerox, I wouldn't bring the original. So you could lose that. The original, my wife, she took that right away to the bank and she put that in the safety deposit box. Until we could get the good frame, then we get it. Then it goes right up there on the wall next to the album cover, So we get that frame. Let's see now. Excuse me one moment, sir. Are you through with that cocktail napkin there?
No, yes.
Thank you very much. If you don't mind, sir, just take a minute. I figure you do it now and you get it done, that's all. Just take a minute. Sir, if you don't mind, would you put to Lieutenant Colombo, Frank Sinatra? That's all. That's good. That's good enough. You don't have to write out Lieutenant. LT period.
I put LT already.
Could you put to the missus? To Lieutenant Colombo and Mrs. Colombo.
And Mrs.
Frank Sinatra. She'll love that.
You sure that's all you want?
That'll be good.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
Can I say love? Love?
Love?
Say love?
Yeah.
All right.
Could you put the missus first? The missus,
Mrs.
Colombo,
Colombo.
and the lieutenant.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Even better. Just put to Rose. To Rose, Frank Sinatra. If you could have been at the house, you wouldn't believe this. What happened there when this invitation came. You know, the family, they went crazy. One said, ask him this, and the other said, ask him that. And, well, you know, on my wife's side, you know, they know about show business there. Oh, yes. Like Dominic. Well, he's from Hoboken, like you originally.
Oh, yeah?
Not that he knew you. He didn't know you. Oh. But he knows show business. He knows Broadway. Well, he sold barber supplies in the Times Square area. 17 years. This is his home right here. You can't lose this. This glows in the dark. Well, anyway, he married this girl, Teresa. She's also from Hoboken. And when you, Frank, you know, when you in those days, when you were singing at the Paramount, she worked in the Orange Julius there in the corner. She was a hostess there, you know, showed people to their stools. So this is what they wanted me to ask you. Now remember, this is them asking, not me. I'm out of this, you know. What they claim a few years ago when you retired was because your voice, you got a little tired. See, they claim now that when you make a record, that Jerry Vale does the singing for you. Let me give you this. This is from my wife, lasagna. You know, it's all fresh tomatoes, and she made the pasta herself, and I hope you enjoy it. All right.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Listen, don't bother washing out the pot because that's Teflon. You use the steel wool that scratches the bottom. So. You could rinse it out with water when you're done. And there's an address in there, then you just drop it in any mailbox. I have to return the gentleman's pen.
Oh, the pen.
I borrowed the pen. That's right. Thank you very much. Art's Delicatessen. You eat there? Oh, that's a wonderful place.
You want to keep the pen?
Huh? Oh, that would be lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you ever get a chance to go into Arts, you know, they got there an early bird dinner. You get there, if you get there before 5, you know, you get the main course, your choice, a soup and salad and a beverage, $1.99. I want to ask you, this is very hard to ask. But you know, my wife went crazy when she got the invitation. Oh, you need a lot of nerve to ask this. I don't know. You know, my wife is watching, you know. And I don't even know if you're permitted to do this. Well, you see, in my family, we get together every month. We all sing. And, well, you know, I'm the worst singer, and you're the greatest singer, and they're all out there watching. Would it be possible? Not a whole song, just a... Not a whole song. Just... bye-bye blackbird, something, anything. They get a kick out of it. They're all looking.
Hiya, Rosie. How's that?
Yeah, just one here, just here. Pack, pack,
Back your
pack, raise and woe. Here I go, singing low.
I'm glad to see my brothers and sisters up here on the dais. They're all doing quite well. Even LaWanda Page with her big mouth. Red Fox is doing great. He held out for a window in his dressing room, and he got the window, but he can't find a woman to come in and clean it. Sammy Davis found out our people are doing so well, he's trying to pass for black. I'll always be grateful to Frank, because it was he who got me into show business. When Frank played the Paramount in New York, I was an usher. And he was such a smash hit, the girls got excited and threw everything up on the stage. Their stockings, high-heel shoes, blouses, girdles, panties. After everyone left, I climbed up on the stage, picked up all that stuff, and that's how Geraldine was born.
What can you say about Milton Berle? Anybody who says he isn't funny, he's seen his act. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who has made a major contribution to the world of comedy, Mr. Milton Berle.
What a night! Thank you, Dean. Thank you. Of all my introductions, that was the most recent. But it's a great pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, Frank.
Hi, Bill.
Enjoy yourself. Hit somebody. And by the way, I forgot to announce, all of Frank's pals couldn't be here tonight. Half of them couldn't find time, and the other half are doing it. And there's Red Fox. Red Fox. Old Blue Eyes, say hello to Old Blue Jokes. Say hello to Fox. Isn't he beautiful? His grandfather picked cotton, and it went to Red's head. My friend, Flip Wilson. Flip recently went to Africa to search for his roots, and he traced his family all the way back to Detroit. Now let's get back to our guest of honor, this gentleman here, this aging Paul Anka. Frank, I am really glad that you came out of retirement. Too bad your voice didn't join you. Remember when you could really hit those high notes? One day Sinatra was singing at home, hit a high C, and spayed the dog. I'm sorry, Flip, I shouldn't have said spade. But, today this man cuts a record, right away, it's a hit. Remember, I did it my way. I tried it his way, and I was in traction for 3 weeks. I love you. Today, Frank Sinatra is the king. Today, he speaks to God, not in prayer, but on a one-to-one basis. This man calls dial a prayer to see if he got any messages. And I understand. I don't know if this is the truth, but I understand that Frank is going to Rome. He's going to speak to the Pope. He wants the Pope to make him a cardinal. And that way we'll only have to kiss his ring.
Surprise for you, and even a bigger surprise for our guest of honor, Sinatra's ex-bodyguard, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Carlo Cappuccino.
First of all, I'd like to say, I'd like to say hello to some of Frank's friends. Now, I'd like to say, hello to my ex-boss. Sitting there. He has no feeling. For 30 years, I was his bodyguard. And it wasn't easy. It took me 5 years just to find his body. You say, you. You should have seen the way he looked then. He looked like he was given the kiss of death. And nobody kissed him. I was the perfect bodyguard. I was fearless. That's because I was brought up in a tough neighborhood. And it was really tough. You could walk 10 blocks and never leave the scene of a crime. Seriously, though, I really had a tough job keeping up with this man. One day he's in England, next day he's in France, then he's in Germany. I can't tell you how many times I found him abroad. Keeping all these women away from this Italian sex pot. And some of these women are wild. One of them broke into his room and threatened him. In order to protect myself, I threw myself on her body.
Everybody's favorite funny man, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Red Fox.
Thank you, Dino, or Vino, whatever you're sucking up tonight. This must be the roast to end all roast, because as I look around the dais, I see a lot of heavyweight hunkies. That's right, with the exception of Flip Wilson, Wanda Page, and myself, I haven't seen this much white meat since my Thanksgiving turkey exploded. But I'm happy to be here tonight to honor Frank, because this man, like me, came up in the toughest part of show business, the trenches, the battlefield, in other words, the nightclubs. And remember those saloons, Frank? They always had the same lineup of girls, singer, comedian, a tap dancer, and a juggler. The juggler was the guy who kept the books. As tough as it was for Frank was even tougher for me. At least he worked in the fancy nightclubs in Las Vegas with Dean, Joey, Sandy, and the rest of the guys. I had to play small clubs in Mississippi. While he was singing and dancing with the Klan, I was running from him. There was a time long ago when Frank and I both played Atlantic City. But what a difference, Frank. What a difference. What a band. Frank was at the 500 Club on the main drag, and I was at the Club Harlem, which naturally was in the back of the beach. Now in that part of Atlantic City, if anything white came in, it was a shark. He had a pinky ring and a black suit. It was a loan shark. You know, Frank, a lot of nice things are being said about you tonight, but if I had to say one thing, and it's this. I dig a guy who's outspoken, and that's you, baby, that's you. You say what's on your mind, you say what's in your heart, and you don't give a damn about consequences. And because of that, here's the best compliment that I can give you. As far as I'm concerned, you are the white Andrew Young.
Ladies and gentlemen, my good buddy, Mr. Gene Kelly.
Thank you, Dean. It's a great pleasure for me to be here to honor Frank Sinatra because we've been friends for, well, no, I won't say how long, but for quite a long time. We both came to the coast in the early 40s, and each of us were filled with hope and ambition, and we started out together in that fabulous factory of film fantasy, Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios. Of course, at that time, Hollywood wasn't as built up as it is nowadays. For instance, Hollywood Boulevard, which today has an entire sidewalk of stars, had only one star on the pavement. Dean Martin. It was this celebrated era that Frank and I made our first MGM musical, Anchors Away. There were many musical numbers in Anchors Away which required Frank to do a lot of dancing. Now, Frank never danced before. That's true. He never danced before, and he needed plenty of rehearsal. Plenty. And I must tell you, really, truly now, that he trained for that film like a fighter going into the ring, and he turned into a hell of a dancer. Well, the picture turned out to be good, and the studio executives liked it so much, they wanted us to play sailors again in the film called On the Town. So we re-enlisted. By that time, we'd become really good friends. He was a special kind of guy and very generous. If you admired his tie, he'd send you a tie just like it. If you said, I like your suit, Frank would send you a suit. If you said, I like your girl, he sent over two guys named Carmine and Nunzio. I want to tell you, Dean, that after these movies, we got a little tired of playing sailors. So we asked the studio to take us out of uniform. And they did. They put us into Take Me Out to the Ball Game. And we wore baseball uniforms. And I'll tell you, Frank being a swinger, it was pretty tough convincing him that baseball was the great American pastime. I think maybe Take Me Out to the Ball Game was our favorite, right? Frank, there is, if you will, one thing more. You know, in that last TV special we did together, you sang and I danced to a tune called Nice and Easy. And I bring that up now because as I try to sum up our relationship over the years, that seems to say it. Nice and easy. And for that, this battered old Irish hoofer says thanks from the bottom of my heart. Yeah.
the star of Kojak, Mr. Ellie Wallace.
This evening is the most exciting, I think, that's ever happened in Nevada. No Italian has ever received such distinction. As a matter of fact, in your honor, all the pizza parlors in Las Vegas are closed forever. Frank is busy writing his autobiography, and the reason I'm here tonight, I do admit there is an ulterior motive. He's making a major motion picture on his life. And he's already purchased the right, this major motion picture company. And I must say, I would love to play the part of Frank Sinatra in that film. Why not? I mean, if I made the story of Frank's life, I could do everything Frank does, with one exception. After the stories I've heard here tonight, I need a stuntman for all the love scenes. You may be wondering why Frankie doesn't play the lead in his own film. Okay. Frank doesn't get along well with photographers. His first picture for MGM was Anchors Away. He had a love scene with Katherine Grayson. He slugged the cameraman for trying to take his picture.
Ladies and gentlemen, a lovely lady, wonderful and warm person, Miss LaWanda Page.
Don't you come messing with me, Wino. I saw you in the casino last night. Man, you were so smashed. You took a slot machine by the arm and tried to smooth talk it into coming up to your room. That's all you've been winding up with lately. Lemons. Don't start pulling on my skirt either with them hot hunky hands. You do that again, I'll kick you so hard you'll be wearing your jockey shorts at half-mast. Get a load of this date. Look at all these white faces could make a lady snowblind. What you laughing at, Milton Berle? With those buck teeth, you look like a chipmunk in heat. I heard what you said, Dom DeLuise. I don't want no jive from you, fatso. You look like the Pillsbury Doughboy with the moon. Don't you start nothing, George Burns, you old geezer. Honey, he's so antique. He keeps his waterbed filled with Geritol. Look at Don Rickles and tell us about is laughing. Lucky you and Kojak didn't sit next to each other. The NBC censor would have made you two balders wear a Brazil on your head. What you laugh about, Ruth Buzzard? You ain't exactly a sex symbol, honey. You could stroll naked through a camp of lonely lumberjacks, and all you'd pick up would be splinters. And don't you go stamping your gums, Jack Klugman. Anybody who spends 5 years living with Tony Randall. Man, I'd like to hear you explain that to Anita Bryant. And now we get to you, Mr. Francis Albert Sinatra. You've always been posing and strutting. You're supposed to be a big man. Well, let me tell you something, Turkey. Honey, Wilt Chamberlain could slam dunk you and still have room to palm a watermelon. I know you got like your footprints in the fourth court of the Chinese theater. So what's the big deal? Everybody figured someday you'd wind up in cement. Good night, everybody. God bless you all.
None of us will ever forget Frank's Oscar-winning performance as the tragic little soldier Maggio in that immortal movie From Here to Eternity. Well, we have a big surprise for you, Frank, because with us tonight is that brutal, sadistic boss of the stockade who made your life so miserable. Fatso!
That means you too, Booze Baby. I know you weren't with us in Hawaii on December the 7th. But anyway, you look like you were bombed before Pearl Harbor. We meet again, huh, Maggio? Sit up straight. Yes, sir. Chin up! Shoulders back, sucking your gut.
Oh, my God.
You know, Maggio, I hated you from the very first day that you walked into Schofield Barracks. You were pale, pasty, you were skinny. I looked at you and said to myself, the Army must be desperate. They're drafting Linguini. Having you in a platoon was embarrassing to every man in it. On a day when General MacArthur left the Philippines and said his immortal words, I shall return, I shall return. How you made us cringe when you yelled, when you do, bring booze and broads. Yeah, Macho, those were the good old days. But if I ever had to do a job on you again, it'd be all different, boy. No more punching or kicking, nah, none of that. I got a torture that's even worse. The day I throw you in a stockade, lock you in solitary for 24 straight hours, I'd make you listen to nothing but Donnie and Marie records.
Having known him a good bit longer than most, I respond with some trepidation to this opportunity to speak of history's first finger-snapping pope. It began, in the bad old days when I was on the radio playing the Shadow, and Frank was at the Paramount looking like the Shadow. And the Shadow said, who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? Believe me, Frank knew. Only a few seasons ago, you remember that he announced his retirement. A sad day. Every motel in America flew its sheets at half-mast. I guess I'm here for reasons of seniority. And as for the other speakers, well, there's certainly a lot of them. Ex-governors and secretaries of states, a tatterdemalion grab bag of distressed comedians, and a bald-headed Greek tragedian whose chief claim to fame is that he gave new life to the lollipop. I made a little documentary film for this occasion. But I see there won't be much time. My subject was Frank's home, the royal residence in Palm Springs. I opened the film with the palace gates bearing as it does the family coat of arms. It depicts the entire Sinatra family pushing Wayne Newton into the sea. Of Sinatra, the humanitarian and philanthropist, what can I say? He's endowed some fascinating scientific research. The new birth control device, for instance, so much surer than the pill. At bedtime, the couple is shown a print of Frank's movie, The Kissing Bandit. This renders reproduction of our species impossible, since it's difficult to make love when you're fast asleep. Now, in closing, I'd like to speak as an Italian. And I am an Italian, the hard way by marriage. And while I can't claim to have risen to those loftier circles of high society where the bent nose and a slight cauliflowering of the ear are signs of chic, what I have learned is that with all Italians, there's some questions it's healthier not to ask. Certain things are, shall we say, arranged. Thus, I do not know, and I don't want to know, how in the world it came to be that when my daughter was brought to the fount to be baptized, it was Don Francisco here, who was, you should excuse the expression, the Godfather. Now, this isn't a joke. Who would joke about a thing like that? My own Beatrice, who's sitting right out there, really is Sinatra's godchild. Believe me, if it were otherwise, I would have been a lot sassier tonight. Mio carissimo amico, tu sei il più grande. Thank you. E sempre. Translation: whatever I've been saying here, Don Francisco, it's strictly in fun. Naturally, with a godfather like that, you watch your lip.
Surrounded by Italian singers. Have you noticed, folks, our business, most of the singers are Italians. Most of the comedians are Jewish, which is ridiculous. There's very little difference between the Jews and the Italians. 1 year of high school. Himself, Francis Albert Sinatra. Singer, swinger, actor, director, producer, businessman, tycoon. And on the seventh day he rested. I think it was Billy Graham who once said about this man, therefore by the grace of me goes God. My friends, why are we giving this man a dinner when some of the greatest Italians in the history of the world never got a dinner? Sophia Loren's new baby, who said to Sophia, is that all for me? Got a dinner. Christopher Columbus, who said to Queen Isabella, I keep telling you the world is round, you're the one who's flat. Never got a dinner. Lucretia Borgia, who said as she was serving drinks, boys, name your poison. Never got a dinner. Who said to Yogi Berra, repeat after me, Bull, B-A-L-L, Bat, B-A-T, Glove, J-L-O-V-E. said he's being stabbed by Brutus. Well, I guess you know you just blew the Christmas bonus. He never got a dinner. Marco Polo said to his wife, "Hey, are you crazy? I just traveled 10,000 miles from China to bring the spaghetti. You want me to go back for the meatballs?" Venus de Milo, who said to Colonel Sanders, "That sure is finger licking good." Romeo, who said to Juliet, "For a better romance, get off the balcony and get on the pill." Never got it done. First baseman Joe Torre, who was too chicken to play catcher because he said, "Who wants to be known as Chicken Catcher Torre?"
A guy like Frank. He's a self-made man. All his life, Frank did what he wanted to do, and he did it his way. Of course, he had to check it out with the boys first. The boys. Why did they call them the boys? Did you ever see any of the boys? Tough-looking guys. I saw one guy who could make a fist with his nose. He has a beautiful home in Palm Springs. He often plays golf with, like, Burt Lance. Of course, he won't let him keep score. Remember when he won the Oscar for From Here to Eternity? That was a terrific performance. And then much, much later, he retired. He said he wanted to spend more time with his friends. When they found out he was out of work, he didn't have any friends left. I want to say, just one moment of see. I did one picture with Frank, the detective, which was one of the most memorable moments in my career. I love him for tonight, being in here, betting, and I love him for that picture, and thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is not a member of the theatrical profession. He has been closely linked to Frank in the past. He is the man that drove the bus when Frank went from city to city on his concert tours. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Elwood Suggan.
It's been so long. Boy, we both aged a little bit on. I put on more than you did. I remember when I could grab you clear around the bone in your body. Went from here to whatever that bone had. None of that. Comical. Well, I did drive Frank. I called him just Frank. A lot of guys would say Frank, Francis Albert, and I just called him Frank, right? And what's the matter with the man here? What's him? I know who you are. I've seen you on too, Mr. Martin. I know how close you guys are all the time, flying around in a crop duster. At any rate, I didn't prepare nothing. I just, all these people in show business and everything, the only people that I ever seen was Frank here. And I did see Helen Forrest one time, sitting alone in a diner in Boise. And
I remember Tommy and Jimmy Dorsey always called them Mr. and Mr. D and Mr. D, and Frank called them things, boy, and Italian and everything. He gave them salutes I've never seen. In those days, I was just driving him and instruments, and we had over 75 horns packed in the back. I've seen Frank with his face up to the window like this, with all kinds of saxes crowding him. And he'd have a little booze, and I'd have something my brother made. And he's Catholic, as you know, and I'm non-denominational. I've joined everything there is. I don't want to offend anybody. But what kept him going is still this. I tell you, that old black man, I'd love to see him do that. His fingers alone was good. That man has fingers on these two fingers. I'm talking about that. That's a thumb, and this. But these rascals, boy, that made his career. I don't care what they tell you at the Paramount or any place else. This man did this all his life. Hey, that old black magic does me, isn't it? But he is always good to me. He'd give me 5 or 10 when we hit a major town. You don't need no money here in Plainfield. There's none there. He fixed me up with girls. One girl didn't have but one good eye. The other one was shriveled. And but boy, he said, look at the rest of the machinery. I tell you, he did a thing. I just wanted to leave you with one thing, which I think is just a little segment of humor and a picture of what a beautiful man this is, and why this dinner, which it's probably never going to be served. I have seen no food at all. I have seen no food. I haven't seen a salad. Usually you just get something. I guess it's all they're going to hit us real quick. That'll be the time to do it, Frank, is then. Yeah, right now. But what we did, this is the last thing I wanted to say, and then I'll get off. Frank, I love you. Boots you got on there clear up to here, and he's got a knife in one there on the right. I'm just as scared, Frank, and I drive Route 55. I've got a military boy, K-bar on me. I got a guy the other day, boy, just stuck him against a sheet of aluminum. I'm not proud of that, but I had to. I hate violence, but if it comes my way, I love it. That's the reason I've never joined any one religion. I just feel I never would have killed a man or grabbed him and kissed him. Hey, Rick, we was coming out of St. Louis, and the Dorseys, they was always, one of them had a Cadillac, and another one was a Duesenberg. And they had chauffeurs. They'd change off all denominations. And Frank and me was in the instrument bus, all the instruments in there. And Frank had purchased a dog. He was the only time I'd ever seen him really bombed and really just where he was out of it completely. And he was using his hands a lot like this, hadn't closed his fingers. And he said, I got a little dog here. And he put out a paper bag. It was a black and white dog. Had a little spot up here, and tail was black, and the rest of it was white. And he said, let's put the dog on the hood instead of that regular thing. So we pulled off this is Route 59, I believe it was. A lot of times we'd get off the road and just stay off the road for... people going by anyway, you know. The brothers would go by first, and there'd be enough snow on you couldn't see for an hour. Musicians would be just walking down the highway like this. Boy, they were the strangest people I ever known in my life. Frank was all right. He knew where he was all the time. The guys, I've seen 37 of them stand up one time at a major benefit, and there was no instruments in their hands, you know. People were like this. Why? And Frank was that old black magic. Go with it because he was paid to do a thing. But this dog was up on the hood, and it would come back and forth on the hood. And he said to me, Elwood, tie the dog down. And I said, well, it'll make the dog mad. And I said, it's snowing. It snowed. It set in a lot heavy. And the dog, we was doing good. We was doing about 80. In those days, you could do 80. And we just held money out the windows, and guys would grab it in motorcycles and go on basket. Frank had a lot of jewelry, too, a lot of times in his hands. He just give him some quick ice, in his hair. But at any rate, the dog come back and got caught into the wipers. Oh, yeah, I know. Well, I know how animal people are, because that's the way I was. The dog was going, and we went on into Boise that night. That dog is still going. Thank God that Frank and I just let that happen because it kept the dog from freezing to death. Of all the things that Frank does for people, he does a lot for animals because that's always eating him alive about that dog. He put the dog back into the bag. It was just as hard man as a cart. And God love you, Frank. Old Blue Eyes is back again. I hope them Blue Eyes is always back. I wish I had something to give you. I had something, but I was rolled and.
Gentlemen, he's Bogart, he's Wayne, he's everybody, but actually he's Mr. Rich Little.
I don't believe this. My whole act alive and well and living here at the MGM Grand.
And this Ernest Fortnite down there. I don't want to go out with no girl tonight, Ma. And you want to know why? Because I'm ugly. And you want to know why I'm ugly? Because you and Paul were ugly. That's why. And Gene Kelly there, too. I'm singing in the rain. Look at this honky puck. We're in the middle of the Nevada desert. The man's singing in the rain.
It's good to be here to honor Frank tonight. But not everybody I know shared that opinion. For instance, Truman Capote said,
Hi there, fun seekers. A roast for Frank Sinatra, I think it's ridiculous. All he ever does is go out every night and brawl and punch and hit. It's disgusting, it's degrading, and in a strange way, it's rather exciting.
and George Burns told me,
Says Sinatra roasted? That's like putting Fonzie in the White House. Now, Frank's a nice kid. And as a singer, it's hard for me to put him down. See, you can't put down another singer. But he doesn't know how to put over a song. You see, Frank, a song should go something like this. When somebody loves you, it's no good unless he loves you all the way. So hug me like a flower, cuddle me a lower. Love and let me learn the red rose rag. Over trouble, you gotta make it.
let's ask one of Frank's neighbors in Palm Springs to say a word in your behalf. Gerald Ford.
I carry an American Express card. Our next guest comes as a special surprise to our man of the hour. The audience may not be familiar with the name Jilly. None of you people don't know who Jilly is. It is always a famous word, well, with us and with Mr. Sinatra. You've never even heard of Jilly, probably. Well, maybe here he is, Jilly. There's no Frank without Jilly.
Same reason everybody else up there said. I came out of respect. I came out of admiration, but most of all, I came out of fear. I remember the night Frank came into my joint. About 3 in the morning, he had just left the El Morocco, big deal. And he brought some of his friends with him. They were very high class, the A group. You know, the kind that wash their hands before they eat. And then spend a half hour looking for a clean spot and a roller towel. Frank, I know you got a lot of important people up there. So I'll just say what I've been saying to you for the past 30 years. I'll be waiting in the car.
The TV series CBO Shockey, which is a big hit on the NBC network, Mr. Don Rickles, ladies and gentlemen.
Frank, may I say publicly to you, is the bomb of the year. Dick Haymes would have had a turnout. It's all over, Frank. I know you don't like to hear that. It's gone. To my black brothers, Red Fox, Flip Wilson, LaWanda Page, sorry. But your whole life, your dear, wonderful, wonderful new wife, Barbara. Barbara, the one with the diamond on her nose. Jewish wife, she doesn't do that. She has so much jewelry on, she can't keep her head up.
Laugh, enjoy it.
I'm singing in the rain. I'm singing in the rain. Genie 90, lay down. Annoying the people. George just went, who's 90? What's this, London? Jilly Rizzo, who gave me a break in Miami Beach. Guy said, you stink, and Jilly walked over and said, killed the Don. It's a man that's in charge of the Italian people. Di capo, di bandi, di bendi. Pupazzi, di bandi, bumbandi, di bendi. Jews don't do that. We make a phone call, give a few dollars, and they all go away. And the blacks go, I didn't hold no grocery store up. And the Polish people go, any trouble? And my dear friend Jack Klugman from Quincy, one of the great actors, who said to me, get me a broad, a monkey, a dog, anybody. Get me an old moose, anything. Reagan, our great former governor, who said to me, "Hey, I don't know, you should have been the president." I gave him a cookie and he went away. He's a real guy. But all the great stars, Bob Hope couldn't be here tonight. He's looking for a war. You know, I never tell the truth. I exaggerate. I make fun of blacks, whites, Jews, Italians. Well, Jews. We're the chosen people. We had a few bum breaks. I must admit that. The Red Sea trick. Dean, it's morning. Now, in honor of the Italian people, softly, everybody. Good. He enjoyed it. From the bottom of my heart, to all of you, and to wonderful Peter Falk. Over here, Peter. Look at this side. To Ruth Buzzy, who everybody laughs at about her looks. You're a dog. And Orson Welles, 30 years ago you were handsome, and now we're going to put Goodyear on your face and fly you over the beach for a half hour. The little girl who kept checking with him going, "Is that funny?" We love you, Milton, but it's over. And Luanda, you'll come in on Tuesday, just the furniture. From Murray Franklin's to the big lights of Las Vegas. This wonderful gentleman that we honor tonight was in my corner then, he's in my corner now. We do not dance together, we do not break bread every day together. But when I'm in his company, Dean knows this and you know this, I speak of him with love, and I tell you, we have been blessed to have such a man. Good night.
And now, it is my privilege and very pleasant duty to introduce our guest of honor and my good buddy. What can you say about a guy that's already a legend? The accomplishments of Frank Sinatra have been documented in the history of show business. You can find him listed in some books as a singer. In others, you'll find him listed as an actor. But in my book, he'll always be listed as a friend, the best. This business isn't as easy as it looks. You endure a lot of hurts and scars along the way, and whenever Frank found out I was hurting, he was always there for me. There's lots more I could say, but at this moment, my emotions prevent me from translating my feelings into words. So I'll just say, here's the man of the hour, the man of the year, and my personal vote for the man of the century, Mr. Frank Sinatra.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Dean, and all of you roasters and our roastette. I'm here tonight for a very simple reason. I will repeat what Dean said, except change it around. I love Dean Martin, have for more years than we want to mention. And if that upsets Anita Bryant, so be it. And Dean, I hate to spoil your image, but I have to tell the people the Dean that I know a little bit about, a good deal about. He's not a drunk, and he is so far from the fumbler he would have you believe he is. It's all a charade, really. But it entertains people, so he carries on with it. And Dean has probably brought more fun into my life than anybody I know. As for this evening, I've enjoyed every week of it. I enjoyed the jokes, and I enjoyed the serious part that Don Rickles did. Everybody doesn't have to be funny all the time. And Don proved it again tonight, didn't he? And as for how to express my thanks to all of you on the dais for being my friends, we don't have time tonight or this year for me to put it all into words. But you may believe me, if I knew how to hug a dais, I would do it. Everybody on this dais. By your talents, you bring light into darkened worlds and lives, and by your work, you change the world's subject from sadness to laughter. And that is a rare gift that I cherish and admire in all of you people. You've cheered America, and in my book, that's win, place, and show. Because without the laughter you provide, without the escape you create, without your songs and your entertainment, the brilliant colors you add to a black and white world, that world would have more time to cry. You get applause, but never enough. But what is enough if only once in your life you cause the friendly smile to wipe out a stranger's tear? I love you all, and thank you very much. May I say that I hope you all live to be 1,000 years old. And the last voice you hear is mine.